bedroom. My name is Dax, and this is not supposed to be an ASMR video. But I am still speaking softly and doing my little whispers and doing my little hand sounds out of habit, and also so that I sort of wanted to try making a ramble video, but in a relaxing way. I don't know. I'm wondering if that would help me get my point across, or if it would do the opposite. This is like a test run. Anyways, I'm going to be talking about art, struggles of being a creative, sort of. I'm going to start with talking about a video that I saw recently. It was an interview with the person from The Hunger Games But Better. The Hunger Games But Better. And if you don't know, The Hunger Games But Better, I believe that's the title. It's a film released on YouTube. And it's literally The Hunger Games. But it was recreated by a small group of friends. And from what I know, they filmed everything. Like over the course of 3 days or something. And they recreated everything from memory. So obviously it's not all that accurate to the Hunger Games movie. But like the fact that they were able to produce something in that amount of time with that little experience and stuff, that little research, I guess. It's just like, that's amazing. It's amazing. It's art. It's art. And I would say that's honestly a major fuck you to AI, you know? Because they could have been lazy and opened up some kind of generative AI software and been like, hey, recreate the Hunger Games movie, but make me Katniss, you know? Like, they could have done that, but no, they actually recreated it by hand, as humans should. And I salute them for that, like, mad respect for that. But that's not exactly what I'm gonna talk about here. What I want to talk about is I saw a clip of like an interview with the person who plays Katniss. I'm not sure what her name is. I'm so sorry. But I'm not sure what their pronouns are, so I'm just gonna say they. Basically, they were talking about like how they decided to, like make that or like start acting. And they said that they've always wanted to be an actor, but again, I'm sort of like replaying this from memory, so I'm not sure if that's exactly what they said. But they said they always wanted to act. They always wanted to be an actor, but they always thought that they were never good enough. They're not good enough to be an actor. They don't have the skills. They don't have the talent. They don't have the experience. But then they realized when they would watch stuff on TV or online, a lot of the actors that they would watch, they're shitty. Like, they're not good at acting. So if they can be an actor while being bad at acting, then why can't I? Like, I might as well just do it badly. At least I'd be doing it. At least I'd be an actor. And that was just so oddly inspiring to me, and it didn't even register in my head right away as I watched it that it inspired me. It was sort of like I had to let it sit for a bit. I was like, shit, that was a banger. And again, like I said, I am a creative, and if you are a creative, or if you have ever wanted to create anything, or if you've ever created anything that you really put your whole Buddhisy into, then I think you can relate to the struggle of dealing with perfectionism when it comes to your craft. Like, you always want your work to be better than what it already is. You always want to be better than what you already are, and that's good. It's good that you always want to improve, but it gets to a point where it's more harmful than helpful to you as an artist, as a creator. Not only does that shit crush your soul, it's also gonna, it's also gonna hold you back from really creating to your heart's content. Because if you're so focused on like making every single little detail perfect, then you're never going to be able to complete the full piece. And that's sort of like the point of what that, that actor said, that creator said. And I also relate to it because, so for context, I'm working on a novel. And I know hearing that, you're probably thinking like, oh, I'm sure you are. Because look at me. But yeah, I'm working on a novel. I'm trying to, at least. And it's something that I actually am pretty serious about. Like, what was that sound? Like it's something that I've spent so much time on at this point. And my secret dream is to be an author. I don't know, I'm sharing this. Now it's not a secret, but my secret dream is to be an author. And like, really be able to write for the audience that I care about. So I've been putting my whole pussy into this. Sorry, I don't know if I can say that. And yet, despite that, I never call myself a writer. Like, ever. If somebody asks me anything related to that, the most I would say is that I do write. I don't mention my novel. I don't mention my dreams. And I don't dare claim the title of writer. And the same thing goes for my other passions. Like, for example, I make music. And again, I'm sure, like, hearing that, you're like, oh, I'm sure you do. Which is really funny. I'm sorry, I'm playing into the stereotypes, and I'm sorry for that. I make music, but I don't call myself a music producer. I don't call myself a songwriter. I don't call myself a musician. Because I feel like I'm not good enough at those things to be able to claim those titles. Like, if I were to call myself a guitarist, then it would be an insult to actual guitarists. Yeah, I've just been struggling with that for a while. And what's funny is that a year or two ago, I actually had a conversation with a friend about that. About how I feel like I can't call myself a guitarist because, I don't know music theory, for example. I don't even know, like, you couldn't ask me to name the top 10 greatest guitarists of all time. I'm not the kind of guy, And I feel like not only was I not passionate about it enough, but I also felt like I wasn't skilled enough to call myself a guitarist. So I was telling my friend about that. And he asked me, well, do you like playing guitar? Do you enjoy it? And I was like, yeah. It's like, do you love it? Do you find joy in playing guitar? And obviously I said yes. And he said, then you're a guitarist. Like, he genuinely said that, like, I was stupid, like, then you're a guitarist. The fuck? And it was just like, I don't know. That was like the beginning of me slowly sort of thinking about this whole topic, this whole kind of struggle that apparently a lot of people go through because, being the naive person I was back then, I thought I was the only one who struggled with this. I think it's something along the lines of imposter syndrome. I don't think it's quite that, but it's like something like that, I'm sure someone will know what I'm talking about. But yeah, and then that friend went on to say that, sometimes you could try to teach someone how to play guitar, and they can get really good at it and stuff, but they don't like it, it's not, like they just don't have their soul in on it, and those are the people who you can't call guitarists. But those who might not know much about guitar, but you can see that it's really a part of them, those people are guitarists. So in case someone needed to hear that, if you love what you do, then you have the right to call yourself an artist of whatever your craft may be. it's okay to be bad at shit. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna talk about capitalism because sorry. You know, it's always hard for me to talk about a certain topic and stay on track, because the more you study these things, like society and like things like ethics and politics and economics, like all of these like big subjects, the more you study them, the more you realize how interconnected all of them are. Like you cannot talk about one thing without bringing up another thing, and they seem like they're on completely different planes, like they're different worlds from each other, but no, like you realize they directly influence one another, and these other things directly influence other stuff, and it's just like this whole web of whatever. But yeah, one of the reasons why I would be so hesitant to call myself a writer is because it's not my job, it's not my career. I don't work as a writer, and I don't earn money from a writer. I don't earn money from being a writer. I don't earn money from my writing. And now that I'm thinking about it, like right now, at this very moment, now that I'm thinking about this, that's a very flawed way to look at it. Like, for example, Vincent van Gogh didn't earn shit from his paintings. Does that mean he's not a painter? Like, no, now he's one of the greatest painters of all time. The most popular. Even though he, it wasn't like a good career. It didn't get him that bag, so to speak. And I realize now that the reason I would think that way, like I can only call myself this if I earn money from it, if I did it professionally, because of capitalism. Because if you don't know, capitalism is like basically, like in its simplest form, it's a system that puts profit at the very center. Everything you do has to generate profit. It has to be for profit. Everyone needs to be working towards profit. It's always about the money. That's basically what it is. And so for me to say that I'm not a writer because I'm not profiting off of my writing, that's the capitalist parasite speaking. Like, I just realized that now. Now I feel like a fool. Oh, I look like a fool too. But yeah. While we're at it, that's why it's so important to really think about your thoughts. I'm sorry that sounds really, that sounds stupid, I know, but think about your thoughts in a sense that when you have a thought, ask yourself, why am I thinking this? Like, what is it that led me to think this specific thing? Like what I did just now. I was sharing about how I don't call myself a writer. I really stopped and thought, why not? Like, why do I not count myself as one? And then I answered by telling myself, oh, because like I'm not a professional, I'm not earning money from it. And then it clicked, like, because you're not earning money from it. Which is why I had that realization that was just something that capitalist propaganda sort of like drilled into my mind. How that worked to it. But yeah. If you're an artist, just remember, you don't have to be earning money from it. It doesn't have to be your whole life. Your craft does not have to be your whole life, you know? You don't have to focus so much on being great at this one particular thing. If you want to explore other forms of art, then go for it. Go for it. Art, the act of creating anything, it's one of the most human things that I can think of. Even if you're someone in the STEM field, I feel And I think the reason a lot of people sort of end up repressing their creative side is because they're afraid of being bad at it. They're afraid of being bad at art. Which I don't think is possible. I mean, okay, you can make bad art. Obviously, you can make bad stuff. Like, ugly stuff. Like, obviously you can make that, but in my opinion, because the act of making art in itself is like such a beautiful thing, it can never totally be bad. In AI art does not count. You're not making shit. You're telling a computer to do that for you. Do not piss me off. But yeah, make shitty art. You know, as long as you're creating. Make shitty art. Everyone who starts their creative journey starts off bad and stuff. Yeah, you do that. And you claim the title of being an artist, of whatever it is. You have to be a little cocky when you're an artist, you know. I feel like nowadays you just, there's no room for being too humble. And I know that's because of a lot. Like, there's a lot of pretentious artists out there, especially musicians, in my opinion. Like, I don't know. I think you know what I'm talking about. So yeah, make art. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. Just create. Just create. Go forth and create. And that's gonna be all for me for tonight. There's like a lazy ramble. There's like my warm up because I have deeper thoughts that I want to share, but I couldn't really figure out how to properly word it. So this wasn't actually going to be the original topic of this video, but I couldn't figure out how to deliver my other thoughts, so I just went with something a little bit simpler for now. Yeah. You let me know if the setup is okay or not, or if I should like really have a different setup for my ASMR videos and for my ramble videos, because I can adjust.